Hi, I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live number 49. Today our topic is entitled How to Sing with Honest Emotion, a Key to Great Singing. Hi everybody, thanks for joining me for a few minutes early today in this pre-show. And just want to say hi to you. And the question of the day is, do you have a favorite singer who sings with emotion, with the emotion that really causes you to feel something? Just give me a yes. You have a favorite singer that you go to frequently because they really connect emotionally with their song and connect with you with the song. Just give me a yes or a no, or maybe the name of a singer. I'd love to hear it. So today's topic is really interesting from the standpoint of, you can be a fabulous singer, but if you're boring, nobody listens to you. Or you could be like a marginal singer, but if you connect on a deep emotional level with the audience, then you have a cajillion fans, and they can't get enough of you or of your music. It's a really interesting phenomenon because here I teach singing technique, and yet here I'm talking about how it's not really that important. You can be a marginal singer and still have a fabulous career singing, and it's because we connect to people emotionally on an emotional level. And so I want to talk a lot about that today. Hi, I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live. It's the top of the hour. Welcome to the show today. I want to say shout out to several of you who have already joined us. LaQuack, nice to see you again. Melody Brothers, nice to have you here. And Subia, nice to have you here, Subia. Move this back here. Gotham, Magnus, definitely awesome. And so Gotham says Tom Petty is one of those singers. The Weeknd, Enrique, most definitely Luther Vandross, and so I've every once in a while I'll come across a singer and for some reason, for some unknown reason, I just connect to them, and out of the blue. And one of those singers for me was Alanis Morissette, and I think it was her lyrics. We're going to talk more about that, about the importance of lyrics. So I wanted to just say hi to Christian. Very nice to have you with us today, and it's his first time watching live, so way to go. Very nice to have you here. I hope that today's discussion is going to be a benefit to everybody. I'll be talking a little bit about this topic, and then we'll have a Q&A, and we'll open it up to you guys for whatever questions you might have. It's a beautiful, clear day here, and partly cloudy day, sunny right now here in the Salt Lake City, Utah area. That's in the United States towards the west. And we're getting ready our leaves are starting to turn fall colors here. We're entering our fall season. So Altu, nice to have you with us today. Bill Kinney, he said, is the singer he can listen to forever. Okay, so there's lots of questions coming right now. So let's get on with the topic today that I want to talk about for a few minutes here. And that is, I spend a lot of time, most all of my time, working on vocal technique. And yet, you can have a very technically perfect singer sing, and they sound like they're singing in a voice lesson. It's stiff, it's dry, it's dull, and a lot of the reason for that is that the singer is lacking some kind of an emotional delivery, right? So what is it that allows us to sing with honest emotion. And why is it the key to great singing? What do you think? I think there's a number of reasons that are behind this, but I really wanted to today talk a little bit about, well, I want to talk about several things. There was a book written by a gentleman named Michael Shurtleff, and Michael Shurtleff was a Broadway casting, was a casting professional, casted a lot of the Broadway shows and movies, and he wrote a book entitled Audition. Now, even this book was recommended to me by a director, and one of my directors said, and he was, I don't know if he recommended it, well, I think he did. He recommended it to me personally, and he said, even though it's titled Audition, it's really about acting, and so I got the book Audition by Michael Shurtleff, and read the book, and it was fabulous from the standpoint of acting. And it was really remarkable that he had some really great things to say about singing in auditions, which apply to singing any song at any time, whether in musical theater, on tour, in the bar, at home, wherever you're singing. And so I want to mention one of the quotes that Michael Shurtleff talked about, and here it is. Here's the quote. He said, "The most important element in singing at auditions, and let's just say in singing period, is not the forming of sound, but the creation of a relationship. Most singers don't, which is why they are dull and lifeless, concerned as they are with making notes and pear-shaped vowel sounds. Audiences are concerned far less with the quality of voices than with the emotional life that is being created. The great singers of popular music are not those with the greatest voices, but those who know how to communicate feeling." How to communicate feeling. So, how do we communicate feeling? In the book, he goes on to say, to imagine someone that's very special to you in the audience, and you're talking directly to them, and that's certainly one way to do that. But I think there's a very quick way that we can, on a fundamental basis, connect immediately, as singers, connect immediately to our song, and have that connection extend it to our fan base, to our audience, and then have that connection bind us together. Any ideas? What do you think? What do you think? Do you have a secret yourself that you use to connect with the audience? I've got one that I'll share with you. Maybe I should ask you first before I give my opinion. I'd love to hear what you had to say about it. Any ideas? I'll give you mine, and if you have some other ones, I'd love to hear them, because they're going to be able to help us. So, we can have the greatest high notes in the world and be a boring singer. And we can have marginal voice, marginal high, maybe no high notes at all, where we sing right, in the safe zone of our voices. Okay, so hi, Mike. Mike E.G. or Mike G. Tripp says, tell your story. I think there's a lot of power in that. Smiles for Days. Nice to have you with us. Recommends choosing a song that connects emotionally. Yeah. If we choose songs ourselves that we connect emotionally to, and for me, that's a lot of it is just the tune. There's something about the music that I connect with, that it enables me to connect quickly. But there's more that I want to talk about that. So, thank you. I've got my assistant today is going to be giving me questions to address. But here's the answer, in my opinion, a way that you can focus quickly. And, okay, so Mindy, I think this is Mindy, says, first of all, you must connect and feel your lyrics. And I am so totally in agreement with that. So how do we connect? How do you connect with your lyrics? I had a director one time, actually the same director that recommended this book that I've talked about, Audition. He took us through an exercise where we wrote out the words of the song that we were singing on a page of paper, and on the left-hand column we would write, and we would just do it word by word. So let's just say, well, one of the songs that let me just pick a song here that that kind of caught me, by Alanis Morissette, and it's called "Thank You." And I think I like her. I like her as a lyricist. I think she has some interesting lyrics in her songs. But right away, it caught me. It caught my attention. And so, if I were analyzing my own song, in one column I'd have the word or a phrase. How about getting off these antibiotics? This is her song from entitled "Thank You." How about getting off these antibiotics? And then on the right-hand column, I would write a personal experience or an emotion that I felt, as that I could relate a feeling to that phrase. How about getting off these antibiotics? So I thought, okay, I've been as sick as a dog and in a show and taking antibiotics and wanting to get well and get off of them. So, I attach an emotional feeling like gratitude or thanks, or worry and concern, or sickness or illness, frustration. So I try and encapsulate a couple words there that remind me of when I say that. How about getting off these antibiotics? I'm not just saying empty words. I'm feeling the time when I was sicker than sick, that I could hardly talk, but I was wanting to sing. Okay, so now when I sing that phrase, how about getting off these antibiotics? Now I've got someplace to go emotionally. How about stopping eating when I'm full up? Can you relate to that? How about stopping eating when I'm full up? Now that means something to me. It's going to mean it's something different to you, which is fine, but it needs to mean something. How about them transparent, dangling carrots? Interesting words, transparent, dangling carrots. So I'm thinking, okay, this is like something that you can see through, that's very obvious, and it's meant to be a motivation to me. So they're dangling a carrot in front of me, and it's transparent. And so I'm actually a little bit turned off by it. So the thank you could be something that I'm not really that thankful for, and I'm being kind of flippant about it. So I'm identifying with an emotion. It doesn't need to be the same one she's talking about. It doesn't need to be the same one you feel, but it's something you can relate to. Then she goes on, how about that ever elusive kudo? Well, then you write the meaning of that in the right column. So now when you sing the first verse, you can begin to generate emotion behind all the words. Thank you, India. Thank you, terror. Thank you, disillusionment. Thank you, frailty. Thank you, consequence. Thank you, silence. A lot of words there that you can start to relate to and start to feel that have some real some real impact. Here's some ideas for emotion that's being shared by some of you. Mike mentioned this, and I mentioned this already. Tell your story. Smiles for Days. Choosing a song that connects emotionally to me. And isn't that true? How some songs you just have just struggle finding anything that means anything to you. Colin Bell. Great to have you with us today, Colin. Greetings from Ireland. Gina. You need to relate with what you're singing. If you really do, others will feel it too. Let's say you are assigned a song. Let's maybe you're in a show, in a play. You're singing a song that maybe you don't have any experience with, but you really love this, or you're singing a song that you love. You love the tune and you love a lot of the words, but you're having a hard time finding deep emotion. Make it up. Create something in your mind. If you're singing about death, but you've never had the death of a close loved one, think about your pet gerbil that died. Anything that you can relate to, or imagine that your best friend is gone, or pretend that you're married, or any number of these things to create some emotional feeling inside. The Quack said, I try to act like the song is my story. That's a great point. An actor, a great singer is also a great actor. And maybe I've never, one of these days I think I'd love to play the role of Sweeney Todd. Well, I'd probably never slice anybody's throat. But, I would love to become psychotic for an hour and a half or 2 hours in the evening performing this number, right? So I can act like I'm crazy. Mangus agrees. He said, Chuck, you've totally got it. I look at Bob Marley, definitely not the greatest singer out there, I bet you. He never knew singing could be taught. But man, he could make us feel. Great point, Mangus, thank you. Subia Parvin, when I sing in, that's a question. I'll come back to that. Okay, totally overrated. Nice to have you with us today. Suggest smile. It looks like you're having a good time. And that's a great way to create some emotion, is show it on your face. And if we begin to express it in our bodies, then it also will generate can help connect to our audiences. So this is a concept that is in itself extremely powerful. I don't know if you've had this experience or not, but I've had the experience both as a singer and as a teacher, where if I get lost in my lyrics, which is probably why I enjoy musical theater so much, is that I can also get lost in the character. If I can get lost in the emotional life of the character, and also in the words in the lyrics of the song, then have you noticed that you sing better and you're not trying? You're not trying to sing better. You're just feeling the words, feeling the truth of the words, and sharing that and feeling the emotion. And whether you're acting or literally, even in the process of acting, you begin to feel that emotion. Suddenly your song gets better. you suddenly start sounding better, and the audience is carried away by what tremendous emotion and feeling they're experiencing, and all of a sudden you have this tremendous performance, and it could be technically average, but emotionally electrifying. The lyrics hold a real key to dialing immediately into the emotion for the song. If you've never tried that, give it a try. When you're performing, give it a try and see if it doesn't improve your song, your connection to the audience, and when you do, you're gonna be so addicted to that feeling. It's absolutely, that's when performing becomes, it transports you to another place. It's very addictive because then you want to do it more and more. It's so fulfilling and so exciting, and that's when people come up afterwards and say, "I love your voice. I love listening to you," and so it's very powerful. Okay. Well, that's kind of my little tip for today. I think that's how we really sing with honest emotion, and it makes for a great singing and a great singer, is we really connect on an emotional level to the meaning of our song, the meaning of that story that we're telling, on a very emotional level, very deep feeling level, and just go there when we're singing. So, there's a caveat to that. I mean, I personally, if I get too emotional, I haven't learned yet. I would like to learn, but I haven't learned yet how to keep my larynx down so that I can sing through it. Because when I start getting teary-eyed, crying, my larynx goes like up to the roof of my mouth, and I literally can't even make a sound. And I've seen other people who can just tears rolling down their faces, and they just sing away. I'd like to get to that someday. Anyway, so I've got work to do on that. Okay, so let me say hi to a few more of you, and just to welcome you today. My larger monitor is here to the side, and I put my glasses on so I can say hi. Neelish, hi, great to see you with us today. And Clarissa Kennedy, nice to have you with us today, Clarissa. So I hope Bramy Davison, awesome, nice to have you with us today. So let me address a few of the questions that I've received so far, and we'll take care of answering some of your questions. And so, oh, hi, Dripping Mascara. I don't think I've said hi. Do you have singing techniques and secrets to performing long, high notes? Yes. The number one secret to singing high notes is learning how to bridge. So I'm going to address this immediately, and there'll probably be several other questions that this will be an answer to. So what I'm going to tell you now is, I want you to, I'm going to show you my website. I'm going to explain here what to do. You go to powertosing.com, and if you'll scroll down, you'll see that it says the power test. I call it the power test. It's a vocal test. And what you do is you turn on this, number one, you turn on the recording. So you start the recording, and okay, so I must be on Safari and I'm not on Chrome. I don't know why that's the case. Anyway, so now I'm recording, and then I turn this on, which is, it starts playing some music.
Make sure your starting pitch is not here.
Now, for the men, I had to explain how to do it because they kept making mistakes. Ladies, I don't do that on. So for the ladies, you just start playing. and you start singing with it. And I go up the scale, and you sing ah, and then we turn off the recording, and we stop the recording, and then you can replay it and listen to it. And as you listen and replay, then you come down here and answer these questions. Does it feel like or sound like I'm yelling, straining, or forcing my voice higher? Yeah. And so you go down and answer each of these questions, and answer each one of them, and then submit your answers. You have to send send me the email address, because within about 30 seconds you receive your vocal type. Okay, so we're gonna identify your vocal type. The other option is you can just email it to me, and I can listen to it and send it back. Once you get your vocal type, and there's several different vocal types, you go to the Knowledge Center. It's back up here in the menu. In the Knowledge Center, let's just say your vocal type is pulled chest, high larynx. It could be these others: light chest, no chest, flip, falsetto, or mix. Well, let's just say it's pulled chest, high larynx, which is about probably 85 to 90% of vocal types. You watch this video. This is a video explaining exactly what pulled chest, high larynx is. Then there another video here where I give you exact exercises for this vocal type. And what these exercises do is they teach you how to bridge from your chest voice into your head voice, so that you can sing high notes, you can do it without cracking or breaking. And if you're a light chest, no chest, then I have a separate categories for those. And then each of these vocal types, I also have professionals who are examples of the vocal types. By doing the exercises, you can download the exercises right here, download for men, and downloads for women. Here's the light chest, no chest page. And the same thing is on here. 3 videos explaining what is light chest, no chest, the exercises for light chest, no chest, examples of light chest, no chest, and then you download the exercises for your vocal type. And that's all free. Okay? So that's really step number 1 in terms of how do you perform long high notes. Because if you can't bridge, then you can't do high notes. There are some other secrets to being able to sustain the high notes. And just briefly for that, if you're bridging, but you're still running out of, if you run out of air, let's say, then you might be singing with a too light of vocal condition. So if you're able to hit the high note, but it's a little too breathy, then we've got to work on probably the exercises for light chest, no chest. And if you've got good balance, if that's not an issue, then you may have some issues with breathing. And then I recommend that you watch the videos on breathing on the website. And so you go to the same location here in the Knowledge Center that I was showing you. And on the right-hand column, and I'm going to go ahead and show this again because this is really important. This will allow me to answer some questions really quickly. If you come to the right-hand side here, in the Knowledge Center, there's categories. And then, for example, with breath control, you can find 5 videos about breathing. And you can go through here and watch all of these, plus some of the older ones, and they're going to really help you with your breathing. And we'll be talking about singing with the help of the diaphragm and so forth. Okay? So, there's a lot you can watch that we really don't have time to go into today. And so several of you may have other questions where you can go either take the vocal test on the website or look up these topics for the knowledge in the Knowledge Center. You can search by topic and get answers by watching the videos there. Okay, Melody Brothers says, I am going to perform on 6th of October, and my biggest fear is cracking. How to get rid of it forever with exercise. Sometimes I crack even when I am talking, which is really takes my confidence down. Please help me to get rid of all these. Okay, so go to the Knowledge Center as I indicated here, and take the vocal test. It's very likely you either pull chest high larynx or flip falsetto, and start working on those exercises. Most of the time, the cracking of the chord structure has to do with the larynx coming up. So if I'm talking along, you know, and I get this crack, or I just get this scratchy sound, sometimes that's just a matter of energy and projecting. But that's going to be the fastest way to answer that question. And then you're going to have exercises you can do to get the larynx down, and that's going to help you. Now, I don't think that doing it 3 days before your gig is going to make a difference. But if you've got another one coming up in 3 weeks, then it may make a big difference. I don't know. I could be wrong. You might be able to learn it, put it all together, get it in your song, and not have a problem in 3 days. But if you do, you're unusual. I hope you are unusual. Debjit. Biz was me. Hi. Nice to have you here. Get dry at high notes. Please get dry at high notes. Please suggest me some exercises. I don't know what you mean by you get dry. I don't have any exercises to create more, create more liquid on the chord structure. I will say that for me personally, if I warm up 45 minutes early before I'm going to sing, that my vocal cords are more lubricated. So on the outer lining of the vocal cords, it's called mucosa. It seems to take, at least in my case, about 45 minutes for the blood supply to innervate the vocal structure, the vocal cords, and as well as there to be a little more moisture on the chord structure. And if I do a warm-up 45 minutes before, for like maybe 15 minutes or so, the warm-ups last that long, then I get, whatever dryness might be there, it gets better. If we're talking about dryness, then you want to be drinking at least a half a gallon of water a day, at least. My wife tries to get me to drink a gallon, but I can't do that. I can't sit still that long. Okay. All right. Subia says, this would be a very useful video, sir. I want to know how to bring your emotion in singing without doing any mistakes or going flat. They're going to be surprised how much getting the emotion in the song helps our pitch and helps us avoiding mistakes, because we really actually end up learning the song so much better when we're doing that. So I hope that some of these tips have helped. If you have a really severe pitch problem, then I would say there's not a lot of the exercises that are going to help. It's more of an ear training issue. And if it's an ear training issue, then you probably need to download. There are apps and programs online called ear training. I suggest one called Errol, E-R-O-L. It's an app for smartphones. And they have kind of this cool thing where you can sing a melody that they have, and then they can measure where your voice is and show you percentage-wise. So you can kind of get a score and work on some of their exercises, and then watch and see if you improve your score and so forth. I think that's kind of fun, and I've had some students who've used it and like it. E-R-O-L, Errol, ear training app. Christian. Chris Brown from Elevation Church has a voice that keeps him hooked. That's to our back to our main topic today. If you've joined us later, we've talked about how to get real emotion in our songs, and the vehicle we've talked about today is the lyrics, and maybe smiling or emotion that we show in our bodies. That was suggested by one of you, and thank you for that. LeQuack, my voice sounds very light whenever I go above C4. Before that note, it sounds normal. My voice sounds very light whenever I go above C4. So that's above middle C. And so everything below middle C, the voice sounds normal. Why does that happen? Well, the larynx is coming up, and so as we approach the bridge, and that's what we do. We tend to have the larynx come up, and then the chords start to be less secure, less firmly adducted, coming together. And so the thing that I would work with you on would be, I would do exercises for pull chest, high larynx. Now, just because you start doing them today doesn't mean this afternoon it's going to be better. It's like you say, well, I'd like to get abs, I'd like to have abs, so when I go swimming they're going to show. Well, you do a diet and exercise, and that's going to take you 6 to 8 weeks, right? Well, hopefully it's not going to take that long for the vocal cords to respond, but it's not going to be immediate. The vocal cords are muscles, just like abdominal muscles are muscles. And it's tissue, and but it responds to training. They're not muscles in the strict sense of the word, but it is tissue and tendon and our cartilage and so forth that respond to training. And so by doing the exercises, you're going to find that over time your voice is going to sound more and more firm above C4. The first bridge begins at the E4 for the men. But see, this is a problem even the ladies have. Theirs starts at the A above middle C and goes up through the C sharp 5. It's the same thing. It's the bridge, and it's learning how to bridge. So be sure and go back and watch the beginning of the video here. Thank you. So eventually what happens is that by doing the exercises repeatedly and getting the larynx down, the vocal cords come together and stay together. So if I were to say ma 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 ma, eventually you get to the point where people listening, they can't tell where the bridge is. But I just went through the first bridge there. And it took me a while to learn how to do that. But that's what these exercises for the vocal types will do for you. So also my falsetto connects to the chest usually, and it's annoying because I can't find my head voice because of this. That confuses me because my falsetto does not connect to my chest voice. Now my head voice does connect to chest, and that allows me to get back to my head voice. So head voice is connected, falsetto is disconnected. If I said, now I'm in falsetto, my falsetto won't connect. But if I stay connected, so I went up to my head voice, and because my head voice stays connected, then I don't have to reconnect into my chest voice. And that's what we're going for. I don't recommend falsetto because falsetto doesn't blend. It doesn't blend. But head voice does. And it sounds stronger and better than falsetto. I have a problem. I can't sing in larger groups. This is from Gina. Hi, Gina. I feel like I can't hear myself and basically just adapt to the others singing instead of harmonizing. Sometimes, Gina, you can't hear yourself. Depends on the venue and how whether there's monitors that are reflecting back your voices and so forth. But when I'm in an ensemble and I'm singing, I really would rather not hear my voice, because if I can hear myself over the other people, I'm singing too hard and too loud. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Now, if you're saying you can't hear your part, that is because people standing around you, maybe you sing an alto. Gina, I don't know whether, I'm sorry, in the U.S., Gina would, I know a girl named Gina, so I'm gonna suggest that you're a girl and you're singing alto. If you're singing alto and because of all the people standing around you, or let's say you're a guy and you sing tenor, and because of the people standing around you, you get pulled off of your part, then for me personally, what helps is I have to memorize my part with the music so that I can see the notes that I'm singing in my mind, and I know which notes they are. And for a while, you may even have to, and that helps me, you may have to try and stand next to a person singing your part and have them behind you maybe and singing so that you can keep earshot close to the part that you need to sing. But there's nothing wrong with you. This is very common. It happens all the time. Debjit, I am classically Indian classical singer. Please suggest some exercises. It's very tough to sing with it. Yeah, I think that's a harder genre, but the exercises that I've shown in the website are the answer. Because I've had other classical Indian classical singers use these exercises, and it's helped them definitely. Mindy says, talking about books, can you recommend your top 4 vocal-related books? Number one, I've got 2 that I recommend: "Singing for the Stars" by Seth Riggs, and "The Voice of the Mind" by a man named Cesare, which is, see if I can spell. I don't know if I can spell it off the cuff or not. Ceaseri. The Voice of the Mind. It used to be used, I'm told, some years ago. They don't use it now, but they used it for years at USC in the vocal department down there. I think it's a fabulous book. And I read Singing for the Stars by Seth Riggs. I read it regularly. I try and read it all the time. Beyond that, I don't have any recommendations. If I think of another one, I'll mention it. Well, okay, it's not a vocal book, but I definitely recommend Audition by Michael Shurtleff. I have some other acting books too. One of them's called Stop Acting. I can't remember who wrote it though. It's really good. How can we sing with power, loud, on low, mid, and even high notes? Yeah, so it's related to what the problem you were talking about, le quack. It's if the larynx comes up, we either have to yell, which pulls our chest voice, or go soft, which is light chest, no chest. So the exercises for your vocal type will definitely help you, and you'll be able to do them soft, medium, or loud, no matter where it's at, in the bridge, above the bridge, and head voice. So if I said, ma, 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 we want to be able to get to the point where we can sing the high notes. That's the G, that's in my head voice. Sing it soft, sing it loud, sing it medium, and we want to be able to do that. And these exercises that I've described that are found on the website for your vocal types will lead you to that. So, great question, and always a challenge, especially when we're first starting out. Okay, so, gosh, there's some more questions here, and I'm afraid I'm not going to get to all of them before we have to go. I've got a student coming in about 15 minutes. And so Mike Tripp talks about his voice becomes quite nasal when singing high notes. How do I fix that? So most nasality is caused by a rising larynx. Yeah, I'm a little bit nasal just bring the larynx down. Get the larynx down, it solves most of the problems with nasality. So I would say, again, the exercises for pole chest, high larynx are going to be a benefit to lowering the larynx. Smiles for days. I'm new to singing. The only experience I have singing songs that I like some chorus in the middle school singing, or in the shower, or in the car. But I sing all the time, every day. I want to get better tactics, but I have no idea where to start. Where should I stay? Where should I stay? About what lingo do I need to learn keys? Can you tell me where to start? Yes, where to start Smiles for Days. If you weren't with us at the beginning of this video, please go back and listen. And I've taken you to the website and shown you, take the vocal test, get your vocal type, then watch the videos about your vocal type, download the free exercises. That is, it's a great way to start. It's going to get you off on the right foot. Okay, so let me just see if I can blast through a couple of these others. Alto. Hey, alto. Any tips for squeaky door sound? Yeah, would you place your thumb under your chin and check the swallowing muscles are in action or not? You know, for the sound, if you're having trouble finding the sound, then it's like a little puppy dog. Or you can just say, And then, as far as being able to do it, it takes a while to really retrain. But the idea behind that exercise is to release these muscles underneath the chin here that pull the larynx up, which I believe are called the digastric muscles, and they're attached to the top of the hyaloid cartilage. And when we swallow, it pulls it up. And when we sing, if we go into that, then the larynx starts to pull up. So this is to separate those two things, so we can make a sound here with the vocal cords without engaging these muscles. So I would just say do it really quiet and start out with the staccato. You can see my finger's pretty stable there. Now, if I start doing it really loud at first, it's hard. Anyway, once you can do the staccato, then go to do the gallop. There's a little motion there. I could do better, but that's not too bad. I find that if I kind of impose my larynx down with that dopey sound, that also kind of helps. And then once you can do that, go on to the triplets. Now the exercise is not really designed as an end in itself. It's just to help you translate that into singing and other exercises to separate this from singing, because it's so easy for us just to have the larynx go up. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Altu, thanks. When I sing in head voice, it's breathy and not powerful. Yeah, Subia, so maybe some of these, I've already answered that question. Again, the high larynx kills us as far as that's concerned, because it pulls the cords apart. So a Christian asks the question, if you have the emotional connection but can't hit can't hit a note that's coming, what do you do? Yeah, great question. That's where the technique is important. So we want to be able to get the technique down so that we don't have to think about it. If we don't have to think about it, then then we're able to stay with the emotion. But if we're worried about that the whole time, it's tough. And that's, again, going back to that Full chest, high larynx exercises. Smile says her voice is deep. Favorite type of singing is Disney music sounds and Frank Sinatra. Great. Neelish, hi, I'm a beginner singer. I know scales are related to the emotions, but I know scales are related to emotions. Do you think changing the original scale, or the key, I guess, up or down, according to vocal range, can still make the same emotions? Well, that's a good question. I think that changing the pitch might be a good idea, or might be a bad idea. I think you just have to try it and see. Maybe you can really get more into the emotion in a different key. I think you'd have to experiment with that. So Subia says, hi, thanks, but can you tell any exercise that can make the head voice more powerful rather than breathy? Yeah, so if you just said in a really exaggerated sound, exaggerated bratty sound, or exaggerated just kind of a silly nay, 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 that will tend to drive the vocal cords together more firmly. You can find those exercises in the list of exercises for pulled chest, high larynx, and they're great. And there's some other good ones there too. Once you get that so that the chords are you're getting deeper into the vocal cords and getting more sound, then you go more normal. Nay, 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 nay. You just, if you can't do that, then you go back to a little bit more of that or not nasally, but bratty. Now nasally is like that. I'm not talking about nasally. I'm talking about just a little bit of the bratty sound. Nay, nay, nay. Anyway, you want to get more normal as soon as you can, so that it doesn't sound like a little weird. Smiles for days. Let me see here. Best times I sang was when I'm lost in the words. Awesome. I never thought I could. It was lovely. I was surprised that my neighbors haven't been knocking on the walls. Yeah, sometimes you have to go in the car and practice, right? Clarissa Kennedy, I've been feeling really down lately, so I use this when I'm singing. But my question is, can too much emotion affect your singing in a bad way? Say if you're stressed and you tense up too much. Great question, Clarissa. I think so. So we have to, just like with me, if I start crying, and I have, it gets bad. I lose control of my voice, and my larynx comes up and I get choked up. Really, I literally get choked up. So yeah, you kind of have to have a mechanism there that stops you from going over the cliff, over the emotional cliff, so that you lose control. The other side of the coin, as you said, was if and that's a certain kind of tension, that crying. Another kind of tension might be the same thing. It's going to tighten your neck, it's going to tighten your vocal cords, everything's going to tense up, and it's possible. Yeah, it's possible. That's why technique is important, because we want to get our technique down so that we don't have to be thinking about it. And that way we can lose ourselves emotionally and then have it really elevate our performance. But we're not going to lose our technique because it's kind of ingrained in us. So it's kind of a two-edged sword, and we have to watch the emotion so that it doesn't go beyond our ability to, so that it shuts our entire performance off. Like in my case, crying. At least I don't think too much tension is going to stop your voice altogether. You might pull a little bit or something like that. So obviously we want to avoid those things if possible. But you can just demonstrate and feel a lot of emotion just through the words, through the feeling that somehow flows out of us. It doesn't necessarily have to be always some kind of physical form of emotion, like tension or crying. Right? Let the audience do the crying for you. or let the audience feel that tension for you. Well, I got to go. Thanks for great comments today, you guys. It's just been awesome. Great questions. I wish I could get more to everybody here. I see there's still more here, but please join us again. I've got a video coming out this Friday. I think we're going to talk about we are our own worst enemies, especially when it comes to judging our voices. So watch for that video coming out on Friday. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Love to see you on the channel, Power to Sing. And so I wish you the very best. This is Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live number 49, and I look forward to seeing you inside the next video or our next live broadcast. Thank you, and